Okay, here's a practice. Nabil, you ready? We're going to do a practice. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Lorna Evans, and I'm an equity instructional coach with an anti-racism focus. Please take note of my email, which is at the bottom of the screen there. Nabil is also here with us, and his email you'll see on one of the slides that will be later on in the presentation. We're here today to talk about learning about the supports, the programs, and the resources available for racialized and other equity-seeking students. And following this presentation, there will be a time for you to ask questions. You're welcome to write questions in the Q&A, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. Thank you. Next slide. I'm not going to read you all of this that's on the screen here. At OCDSB, we believe in inclusive education. And inclusive education is made up of many different parts. And some of the definitions that are important that make up inclusive education are listed there. Diversity, which can include a variety of things, and it's not limited to, but does include ancestry, cultural, ethnicity, gender identity, language, physical and intellectual ability, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. We have a definition there for equity as well, and the importance of knowing that equity does not mean treating everybody exactly the same. And then you'll also see a definition for inclusive education and what the principles of, and that talks about the principles of acceptance and inclusion for all students, something that we believe strongly in at OCDSB. Next slide. On this slide, you're going to see some of the central staff that are listed. We have Mary Jane Farish as our Superintendent of Equity and Human Rights. Shannon Smith is the Superintendent of Indigenous Education. This year, we have some new ways that the system is looking at equity and human rights and leadership. It used to be all under one superintendency, and this year they've been divided into two separate superintendencies, one for Indigenous and one for equity and human rights. We all work in collaboration. Jacqueline Lawrence is listed there. We have the System Principal, Melissa Collins, for ESL ELT. We have Kusha, who was our transgender student support coordinator, and he is unfortunately no longer with the program, but we will be having a new hire who will be replacing him in that position shortly. We have, Sue Rice, who's also part of our team, but at the moment she's being replaced by Corinne. we're still on that same other slide. Nabil, could you go back one? Thanks.
I went back to the other one. I think
You're
it's
back.
your
Next slide. There you go. Thanks. Thanks. So myself, my position is a new position that was created last year. It does say that it has an anti-racism focus. Obviously, we all work in collaboration with other departments, program and learning, student support course services. Marva Major is assistant principal of equity, and Jody, Indigenous education. We have many student support coordinators, and Nabil, as I mentioned, is one of our student support coordinators, and he's here with us this evening as well. Next slide. Some of the support that we have for your information, we have something called the Advisory Committee on Equity, and ACE is an acronym we use. And ACE is made up of some board trustees and community members. Equity staff often attend those. They are often monthly. They meet up to 6 times throughout the year. And in that spaces, it's time for community members and people to discuss ways that the OCDSB can make sure that we are having equitable, inclusive practices for our students. In 2018, OCDSB adopted the commitment to the intent of the UN International Decade for People of African Descent, and that's from 2015 to 2024. So that's something that's an also important part of our OCDSB. Next slide. Intersectionality is a very important part of OCDSB as well. OCDSB is committed to building a culture of caring, which prioritizes the dignity and well-being of students in inclusive and caring classrooms. A quote that I like to use is, "There's no such thing as a single issue struggle because we do not live single issue lives." And that's from Audrey Laura. I'm reading that from my shirt that I have over there. Equity-seeking students may have a variety of different identifications, and some of them are listed below there. I just want to make a note that Indigenous students are not an equity-seeking group. They're a sovereignty-seeking group. And so while I list them there as allies, I do want to make a note that they are not an equity-seeking group. Representation matters for all. Next slide. The Sankofa Center of Excellence Graduation Coach Program is something that is in 2 of our schools. We have them at Ridgemont and Woodruff High School. We have staff that work with students and staff and families to help students succeed and be successful in their pathways, various pathways of excellence. Sometimes they're speaker series, sometimes they're partners that work with the staff and students to amplify this work and make sure that our students that identify as African, Black, or Caribbean are succeeding in our programs. Next slide. Some of the objectives of the Sankofa Center are listed there. The roles of the coaches are listed there. Some of the things that they might do, mentorship, working on well-being, going on, etc. Next slide, please. Some other supports that we have at the OCDSB is we have social workers, and they are identity-based. We have social workers that identify as part of the queer community. Other social workers identify as racialized or as Black. We also have guidance counselors that are identity-specific, and we have coaches this year, guidance counselor coaches, David Seguin and Jessica. David Seguin works with all students and staff, but in particular, students that identify as racialized. And Jessica works again with all students, but in particular with students that identify as part of the queer community. As I mentioned before, we have many student support coordinators, and we'll hear from Nabil later. We have a virtual Black Excellence Club that runs from 4 to 5 on Thursdays for students of grades 7 to 12. It's ongoing right now, so your students, even though they might not be in high school yet, are more than welcome to attend. We have other excellence clubs that are run in person, and MSAs and different diversity clubs that also take place in different spaces. We have Black Studies courses, and there's some different schisms that are being looked up as well. And we also have a Reach Ahead summer course for students in grade 8 or grade 9 that's run through continued education for students that identify as African, Black, and Caribbean. Next slide, please. In the spring, we always look forward to Black Student Forum, and Black Student Forum is open to students in grade 10 and up. And currently it runs on Wednesday evenings from 5:30 to 9 p.m. And it runs from November all the way to May. And students get a credit for attending this course. And some students that return to that course, they may receive a different credit, or they may receive some volunteer hours for their work as part of the course. And it's for students and educators and communities to showcase a variety of different things. And last year, actually 2021, the title there was A Year of Resistance and Resilience, Moving Forward with Clear Vision. So they presented some workshops and presentations for students, staff, and families. Next slide. Next slide, please. Some other community resources are listed here, some helpful community resources. So again, I won't read you all of the list that's there, but there may be some names that you're familiar with, or maybe that you're not. These are also community resources that are here to help you and your families and our students. Next slide, please. At this time, I'd like to pass it over to my colleague, Nabil, who is a student support coordinator. We work in tandem on this equity work that we do for the board. So I'll pass it over to Nabil. Thank you. And we'll take any questions or comments following that.
Hi, so Lorna did a really good job introducing.
Go ahead, Nabil, you can introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your role and any other things that you'd like to share with our families.
What's that, Lorna?
We're pretending that this is the real thing. So I said, go ahead, Nabil, I'm passing it over to my colleague so that you can introduce yourself and share any other things that you'd like to about your role and what it is, some of the things you do in the school, and then we'll take questions or comments.
Can you hear me or not? Is my mic off? Because I was talking.
Oh, I missed that. Maybe Malia heard it, but I missed it.
Lorna, I can't hear you if you're saying anything.
No, I meant you. I thought you would talk for a few minutes. I couldn't hear anything that you were saying.
Yeah, so I was talking and I was saying that there's a huge delay in our, I think, I don't know what's happening, but even when I was changing the slides, you were saying switch the slide, but it was already switched. So I think there's a delay somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and then even when I was talking right now, I don't think you were able to hear me. So I think there's something going on with the internet, the connection, or maybe it's this whole setup.
Okay, it might be my side then, because I know I have unstable internet. Okay, did you introduce yourself and you said something? I missed all that.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Maliha, did you hear it or was it just me?
Nabil, you were breaking off a bit, so I guess it was your internet that might have been not working too well, but you can go over it once so we can hear if it's, so Lorna basically can see if it's all right.
Okay. Emotional as well as academic well-being. There's another student support coordinator in the board who was stationed out of Woodruff. Her name is Sama Suleiman. This is a new role, that's a new initiative that the board started last year, looking to continuing it. I support, the student support coordinator support BIPOC students, so it's not only limited to ACB students. Did you guys hear that?
Yes, we did.
Lorna, did you?
Yes, but I believe you cut out. I think we only heard the tail end of it, right, Malia?
Yes. I would say so.
So it's my connection then.
Yeah.
So unless like maybe Nabil say I'm talking or something because you were going on and on and on and on, and then all we heard was this is a new initiative that the board is connected, da 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 da. But I'm sure you were saying a lot before.
I was, yeah. So
Oh, he's cutting out again.
Yeah, it's either his internet or the mic itself that's causing an issue.
please, for now, go on your wife. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. So I just stopped the yeah, hopefully it should be a lot better now. Lorna, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so we've practiced that. And I think 3 more minutes before the next round of attendees come in. That would be the 20-minute mark. So
Okay, so maybe I'll just go back to that last slide. Go back a few slides, Nabil. Sorry, that one where it says our email informations. I'm trying to follow up with this other one where it says comments, questions, Nabil. Thank you.
Okay.
So after that one, when we're done taking our questions, all those other ones are just extras. If I say, oh, I'll tell you, go ahead. But for now, like the comments question one's perfect. Then we'll go to the next slide. So we'll practice that. So we said, okay, thank you. We've answered your questions now. And then we'll say, thank you for being here and your participation today. We hope that you have a good evening. We need to stop right now because there's going to be another session that's going to begin in 5 minutes. So we'll stop now and you have a 5-minute break to allow for time to get to your next sessions. But if we didn't answer any of your questions or if you think of something later, please feel free to email us. And as you saw our emails on the last slide. Thank you. And then, so it says next session begin there. So we'll leave it there for like a minute or two. And then after that, it's been there for a minute or two, then you can go to that slide where it says, I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept. That red one. So 2 minutes, we'll just have it on that sort of, not that one. No, the next one.
The one with the red, with the quotation, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna move it for you so it makes it easier. There.
So is it on there? That's what I'm saying. There's a huge delay somewhere. So it's probably from me.
Yeah, okay, it's there now.
Okay. So Lorna, when you're presenting and you say next slide, just give it a few seconds because there is a delay. As soon as I hear you say that, I am hitting for the next slide.
Okay, all right, good to know.
Yeah.
Be more patient, basically. Okay, that's good to know. All right, we can go back to the very first slide because they're probably going to start. So no, I guess this one ends now, right? So if people ask me a question about what, so for example, if somebody said, what is the Reach Ahead? Can you tell me more specifics about what the Reach Ahead course is? Then I might say, oh, Nabil, can you go to that slide about Reach Ahead? And then we have all the information ready for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then just give it about 20 seconds or.
Or if somebody says, well, what about LGBTQ? Then I'll say, well, there's another presentation that has that. However, I do have a slide here with a little bit of information. You know, we have a gender guide, et cetera, et cetera. So I have sort of some stuff as backup just in case. Leah, do you have any feedback for us?
I think that sounds fine. I think, yes, it's just being a little patient, I think, with Nabil's connection. If you could just give him maybe 10 seconds before, yeah, just reminding him to shift. I'm sure he's doing it on time. But yeah, all's good. All's looking good.
Okay, thanks. So I guess we can go to that first slide again, Nabil, after And I confess I wasn't totally reading the speaker's notes because I feel like it's a little bit awkward with me going, looking back and forth. So I'm trying to do the best I can just by reading the slides as I see them right in front of me. So it might sound a bit different. Perfect. Should we stop recording now and then restart for the next one, or does it just record all? Are we recording it on anyways?
That's up to you. If you say that I should stop recording, I can. Should I?
Yeah, can we stop for, is the session over?
Yeah.
This one, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if we could stop recording for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.